Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan. I guess you'd call this another Hollywoke hot take. I thought I'd go through this article from the Hollywood Reporter, the 40-ish most influential people in comedy in 2021. And, and just pass my awesome judgment over everybody. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Please check out my books. Thank you for checking out my books. Little Joan is getting treats all the time thanks to you, right, Little Joan? Oh, so many treats we're getting. So many. Pineys Means Halloween, books 1 through 7, comedy, horror in South Jersey, ebook, trade paperback, Kindle Unlimited is free, all on Amazon. Links are in the description now. Let's go through the list. Are these people truly influential in the world of comedy in 2021? Well, we start with Luciano Anella, Paul W. Downs, and Jen Statsky. These are creators, producers, types, so they're not famous. You don't know who they are. I don't really know who they are. I haven't seen Ted Lasso. I've heard good things. It's getting a lot of Hacks. Never, maybe it's good. I don't know. So maybe these guys should be on the list. I mean, if they're connected with Ted Lasso, I hear that's a monster hit and people love it. So yeah. Judd Apatow, sure. Yeah, I'd give it to him. I mean, look, I don't like his politics, but some of his movies were pretty funny. I think his politics, again, has really hurt a lot of comedians and a lot of funny people like him. I think he is an example of a guy who should have definitely stayed out of politics, but whatever. Nora from Queens, otherwise known as Aquafina. I don't know, she's a rapper too? She seems too new to be on this list of influential people. She's had one show basically. And she was in Shang-Chi. I mean, and she kind of was annoying in Shang-Chi from what I hear, but I don't know if she belongs on the list of influential people. I mean, to me, that's like big people. Kenya Barris. This is a guy who created Blackish. So, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big show. It's done well. And he coming to America, too. So, yeah, I guess he'd probably be on here. Now, these guys, Dave Bird and Jack Schaefer, these guys created a show called Dave, which feels super, super hard pressed on me. Like, I see Dave commercials almost everywhere. It doesn't look like the worst show ever, but it doesn't look particularly funny. It looks okay, but like it kind of annoys me that it's like pushed and pushed and pushed on me. Like, okay, good advertising, I guess, but geez. But his partner here, Jack Schaefer, Curb Your Enthusiasm and Seinfeld. Yeah, I think he deserves to be on the list, obviously. I mean, those are amazing shows. Then they put all four of these comedians, like, together. Like, they should have their own listing if they're influential comedians. I mean, certainly Bill Burr should be on the list. Absolutely. John Mulaney, yeah. I mean, his sitcoms are just, in my view, awful. But his stand-up's okay. The other two, I don't even know these guys. I mean, Hassan Minhaj and Ali Wong. I think I've heard of Ali Wong, but Hassan, was he the guy who got mad about Apu, or am I thinking of another Indian comedian? I don't know, but I guess, I mean, they're on the road, they're comedians. I haven't even heard of these other two, but whatever. Bo Burnham, of course. I mean, he's pretty. Talk about a guy who's touring and doing well. Dave Chappelle absolutely should be on the top of the list. What the hell are you doing? Especially now after The Closer. What, are you kidding me? And of course they got to say a bunch of stuff about The Closer. Michaela Cole. They're touting this show I May Destroy You, which is apparently a dark humor show about a woman trying to piece together the truth about her own rape. I don't see how that's a comedy at all. It just feels like something they decided should be critically acclaimed in Hollywood. It doesn't particularly sound influential comedically, though. and that she's in Black Panther, that's not a comedy either. So I don't know why she's on this list. Larry David, absolutely. I mean, God, Curb Your Enthusiasm is so damn funny. Will Ferrell, of course, sure, he should be on the list. His producer buddy here, Jessica Elbaum, her company responsible for female-fronted successes. Okay, first, picture some in your head. Female-fronted successes in comedy. And here's what they list. Booksmart. Booksmart was not a success, in my view. Hustlers. I think that was that the one about the strippers? I don't remember. And Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar. No, that was not a big movie either. I mean, those movies came out, so I guess you could call it but influential? I don't think so. I think they're just putting her on here because she did a bunch of female-centric things. Tina Fey, yeah, I'd give it to her. I mean, she's funny. She had a great run on 30 Rock and SNL to some degree, but 30 Rock, certainly. Zoe Fomadou. I don't know her. Fomadou spent her quarantine asking everyone from Melissa Milano to Fran Lebowitz, how many black people do you know? Hilarious! What is funny about that? I mean, it sounds like, again, she's too new to be on this list. Kristen Wiig, okay. Annie Malolo, who was also, I guess she was the other woman in Barb and Star, Go to Vista Del Mar. I guess? Oh, she was in Bridesmaids. She co-wrote Bridesmaids. I guess I'll give it to her. Tiffany Haddish, yeah. I don't particularly like her comedy, but she's certainly a comedic actress and has stayed in her lane in terms of comedy. She's trying to do comedy, not like some of these other people on the list who are like, you're barely considered funny. Now, this guy created Reservation Dogs, which looks kind of funny, but, like, again, he seems awfully new and green to be on this list. Shouldn't that be a different list, like up and coming? Dan Harmon, of course, Rick and Morty, Community. I mean, the guy's put in his thing. Kevin Hart, absolutely. Now, this guy's an agent, so nobody knows him, I would assume, but he's, he reps like looks like Will Ferrell, Tiffany Haddish, Jason Sudeikis, Kenan Thompson, so yeah, he should be on here. This is a trade paper, keep in mind, so finally they're doing something about the trades as opposed to every national news story that comes down the pike. Mindy Kaling, yeah, I mean, I think she gets less and less funny every time she does a project outside the office, but, she seems to at least be trying. Again, I don't find her particularly funny anymore, but at least she's seems to be doing comedic stuff. I think her stuff's going a little too woke, though. Chris Kelly and Sarah Scheider, they're the creators of The Other Two. I haven't seen this. It's on HBO. Almost everything on here is from HBO, so I don't know if this is like a whole Warner Brothers paid thing. Warner Brothers trying to take over comedy, but this isn't a great list for that. Nick Kroll, of course, very funny. The Kroll Show was pretty amazing. Now he's going to work on the new History of the World TV show, which should be funny, with Mel Brooks he's working for. He was in The League, which is such a funny effing show. If you haven't seen The League, you should really go back and see it. And, of course, Big Mouth, which isn't bad. I mean, it was a lot controversial, and I refuse to watch it now that they had to replace the actors who weren't people of color enough. But, I mean, good stuff. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, writer, director, producers, probably don't really know them, but they look... I think they're involved with Ted Lasso and the Mitchells versus the Machines. I heard good things about Clone High reboot. So yeah, Chuck Lorre, of course, he produced 2.5 Men. Got in it with Charlie. So sure, he should be in there, and he's done some other comedy things. The Big Bang Theory. I mean, you got to give it to him. The guy's producing comedy at least, even if you don't like it. Some of the SNL crew, Kate McKinnon, Pete Davidson, Bowen Yang, Michael Che. You would expect these guys to be on the list. I don't think they're all that influential. Maybe Pete Davidson and Kate McKinnon right now, maybe, but the other two, I mean, barely. Maybe Michael Che. A couple of times he gets in the news or whatever. Lorne Michaels, of course. He produced Saturday Night Live since he was born, basically. Robbie Praw. I have no idea. He's a stand-up comedy exec? What? I guess. Where Just for Laughs vet Praw runs stand-up specials, remains genre's dominant player. Netflix has all but monopolized television stand-up. I guess you can give it to him for that. I mean, he did put The Closer on. Issa Rae, actor, writer, producer. Don't know her. I mean, Fade's a black lady sketch show. Too woke. Too woke. Now she's doing something about black professionals in South LA called The Sweet Life Los Angeles. Doesn't sound like a comedy. Currently shooting Rap S, a comedy for the streamer about a female duo breaking into the Miami's music scene. Maybe, again, too green to be on this list, I would think. Phoebe Robinson released a stand-up special and books. I mean, I guess. So she sounds funny, but again, sounds too new. I mean, her stand-up her third book was called Please Don't Sit on My Bed in Your Outside Clothes. That's kind of funny. And her comedy special was Sorry, Harriet Tubman. I mean, that sounds funny, but you know, seems like she hasn't done enough to warrant being on this list. It should be on the up-and-coming list. Tim Robinson, Netflix's I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. I guess former SNL writers platform for comedy spots, maybe. Joe Rogan, absolutely monster. Again, should have been at the top of the list. But they kind of bash him. I'm liberal, but right-wing platitudes provoke plenty of criticism. No, it's you people who constantly criticize anything that's not even remotely left. Stop calling him a right-wing lunatic. Natasha Rothwell, writer-performer. Break came in 2013. She auditioned for SNL. I guess she was in it or writing for it. Breakout turn in HBO's The White Lotus. Again, I don't know who this person is, so I don't know. Maybe? Seth Rogen, Evan Goldberg, yeah, they should be on the list. I mean, they've had some big monster hits and some funny hits. I think Seth Rogen's going way woke, but what are you going to do? Michael Schur, I've heard of him. Oh, okay. Parks and Rec, The Good Place, sure. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Q-Force is kind of a strike against them, but Hacks, Master of None, in the beginning was great. So yeah, Rutherford Falls, sure. Ted Lasso, Jason Sudeikis, Bill Lawrence, and Brendan Hunt, sure. These guys, Ted Lasso is a monster hit. Everybody's watching it. And I got to give it to Sudeikis. He can be funny at times. He hasn't always been funny. He kind of annoyed me at sometimes, but yeah. Robin Thede, again, sounds like a green comedian, should be on the up-and-coming list. Black Lady sketch show. I mean, I vaguely remember hearing that. She's also developing and will star in HBO Max's Perfect Strangers reboot. No. That show shouldn't be rebooted. It should, no. Off the list. Don't reboot that stupid show. President Live Nation Comedy, Jeff Williams. Most powerful live comedy promoter. Oh, okay. That's probably why I haven't heard of him. Has been integral to the stand-up careers of everyone from Dave Chappelle to Ali Wong. Good for him. Yeah, sounds like, he's a behind-the-scenes guy. John Wilson, documentary filmmaker. I guess. Part documentarian and part humorous. Made a big impression on the comedy landscape with 2020's HBO. How To with John Wilson. Dubbed funny, sad, and in the end, shockingly profound. Didn't hear of it, but I guess it's been renewed. Oh, okay. Taika Waititi. I could ever say his name correctly. Absolutely should be on this list. I don't agree with his politics at all, but man, he's done some funny stuff. Jojo Rabbit was huge. And Risky. What We Do in the Shadows is so good. And Thor Ragnarok. was great. I loved it. So, yeah, he's. Oh, and he's involved with Reservation Dogs. Yeah, I want to see that now. Mike White, the creator of the White Lotus. I mean, I guess maybe I'd watch it, but it didn't look good in the trailer. I remember looking at the trailer and going, nah. But he did write School of Rock. That was pretty good. Now, finally end with late night host pandemic pivots. Style. First, you got Trevor Noah's hair. First off, everything Trevor Noah does on The Daily Show, I think, is awful. His hair notwithstanding. He's a good stand-up comic, but man, The Daily Show sucked the funny out of him. And I really don't like being lectured to by a foreigner about how awful America is. So I think it was wrong for the show, especially during this era. I think, again, I and it's no slam against him. I think the reason they picked him is because he looked enough like Barack Obama. They said, oh, yeah, he'd be good. I think it was a terrible reason to pick him. I think he was woefully miscast on The Daily Show, and he still continues to seemingly struggle. I mean, you got to follow Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart had an amazing run on that show. You got to do something different, and in my view, he hadn't. He just sort of never did. Even during the pandemic was the only time he was different. Seth Meyers, they got him under thrived. Under style during the pandemic. I mean, does anybody really thrive during the pandemic, doing it at home? I mean, he probably did it better than anyone else. I think the only reason Seth Meyers kind of thrived under the pandemic is he mostly slid under the radar, and he's famous enough to be on TV, but not so famous that the constant scrutiny gets him, canceled. And survived Jimmy Kimmel's beard. Ha ha ha. Jimmy Kimmel's just, I think, awful at this point. The internet absolutely hates him for the most part. So, I think, talk about a show he's just burning down to the ground. I think the whole network's burning down, quite frankly. Who the hell's watching TV? Samantha Bee, ad hoc sets, I guess. Who cares? I mean, is anybody watching that show? Bill Maher's backyard monologue. He's under thrived. I mean, Bill Maher just does good because he's credible. John Oliver, The White Void. John Oliver, again, I don't want to be lectured to about how awful America is by a foreigner. Oliver's got, and he's really hyperbolic. If anybody's, the only reason he's thrived is he just keeps doubling down on the politics. Jimmy Fallon, this is Breakout Stars, Jimmy Fallon's daughters, I guess. I mean, again, who watches TV anymore? But Jimmy Fallon kind of tries and kind of goes back and forth. He gets caught up in some scandals. Sometimes he seems above it all, but most times he just capitulates and apologizes and goes back to being, carrying the water for the narrative. DeHuse's vast sneaker closet. I don't know who that is. Anthony Fauci on Stephen Colbert. Everything the Colbert Show has done, in my view, has destroyed Colbert. As great as his show was, as great as his White House Correspondents' Dinner with Bush was, everything about The Late Show has just been one train wreck after another, destroying his comedy. And what really destroyed it was that horrible vaccination dance. That's going to come back to haunt him. That's going to be in the history. That's going to be in the documentary about this era, because they're going to show that, because that's a visual representation of how awful the narrative has become. And I think he'll be around long enough to see that and go, God, what was I thinking? I should have never done that. That was a mistake. He'll be apologizing for that, I think, one day. Viral moments. Colbert hosting from his bathtub. I thought that was I can agree that was a low point for Colbert. I made fun of it and woke us down a novel. BTS residency on The Tonight Show. Who the hell is BTS? I don't even know who that is. The Tonight Show, again, Fallon, who cares? And John Oliver Memorial Sewer Plant, I guess. That sounds like actual comedy, John Oliver doing it, but again, Oliver sort of burned his bridge with me. I don't want to be lectured to by a foreigner about my country. I don't go to the UK and talk about how awful that is, nor would I. I mean, I guess if I lived there most of my life and knew it, maybe, but, you want to get into politics. When the politics turns against you, you'll be done. And there won't be anybody to save you. There won't be anybody to save you guys. So I think a lot of these guys are going to go off the air when everything shifts. I'll tell you the guys who will survive. Bill Maher, of course, if he wants to. He's getting up there, but he'll survive. Top of the list. Seth Meyers might, because, again, he's under the radar. Jimmy Fallon probably will be, because he's kind of flip-flop back and forth. I think Colbert is doomed. I think Trevor Noah's gone. Samantha Bee will be canceled. John Oliver, probably gone. His show will probably end and won't be renewed. And then Jimmy Kimmel, tough to say. He might get old enough that they'll just replace him, So, anyhow, that's my opinion on comedy, such that it is. And Joan and I will see you tomorrow. Check us out on Bitchute and Rumble for the longer videos and the more outrageous takes.